Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday to you. Thanks so much for waking up with us. I'm Kyle Lieberman.
And I'm Allison Ross. Let's take a live look outside on this Wednesday morning. Here's a gorgeous shot over the Rogue Valley. We see some clouds out there, but we're finally getting a full look at those mountains because we've been having amazing weather. Matt Jordan, is that sticking around?
Yeah, today going to be a little bit cooler than what we saw yesterday, but overall very similar conditions throughout. Also seeing a chance for showers. You may notice compared to yesterday, a lot more cloud cover out there. Should be a nice sunrise as we get over the next few minutes. Temperatures though cooler, as I mentioned. Some areas starting out in the 20s. Chemult, for example, which is typically one of the cooler spots on the map, but it's particularly cold as we start the day today east of the Cascades. Not too bad as we look at the West Valley, still in the 50s for Medford right now. So a light jacket probably a good idea by the afternoon. You might be keeping that light jacket on. Really depends on the person. Let's go into Thursday, slight chance of showers. And yes, there's a chance for showers today, mostly to the north. You're going to hear that a lot in my forecasts, but most of the shower potential is to the north, making its way further and further to the south today, though. We're talking northern Josephine, northern Jackson County, mostly Douglas and Coos County, though. Friday, partly cloudy and a little bit warmer. Air quality right now, pretty good. Not a whole lot to report here. We've improved things a lot compared to what we saw just a week or two ago. Temperatures right now, 30s, 40s, 50s, and then, as I mentioned, Chemult, 24 degrees, 52 in Medford. Going to cool down by a degree or two more before we start to warm up as the sun warms us up. And your visibility out on the coast, you've got some fog. Inland, you don't. So mostly clear skies on the lower levels when it comes to areas like Medford, Montague, Wairika. Back to you.
Matt, thanks so much. 6:32, our top story this morning. We are learning more about the first ever deadly cougar attack in the state of Oregon. The body of 55-year-old Diana Bobber was discovered Monday. She was reported missing late last month after she went missing on Mount Hood. The medical examiner says the types of injuries she received likely came from a cougar. Now the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife says they're assisting in the investigation.
We don't believe that the threat to the public that's posed by cougars is any greater today than it was yesterday. However, we don't know and can't quantify the threat that this particular animal may pose to the public.
So authorities say the cougar attacks are rare, but they are concerned about this particular cougar, and now they're trying to hunt it down.
The Josephine County Sheriff's Office is investigating after a body was recovered from the Rogue River. A couple saw that body while walking along the Parkway Bridge in Grants Pass. Sheriff Dave Daniel confirmed to NBC5 News that crews were able to recover the body of a man in his 50s. Authorities have not been able to identify the man yet and are still working to determine how he died. This
morning, the search is on for someone who police believe used a flare gun to try to start a fire. It happened at Chinook Park in Grants Pass back on September 1st. Witnesses say a red or maroon sedan stopped in the middle of the park and shot the flare into the air and quickly drove away. Investigators believe it was an attempt to start a fire. Deputies say the car had a license plate beginning with 943 or 743. Anyone with information is asked to call the Josephine County Sheriff's Office.
6:33 in this morning's fire danger red report. Cool and damp weather conditions are expected to help spread the Klondike fire. This fire is now nearing 135,000 acres. Bear Camp Road has been closed once again to all non-fire traffic. That closure began at the intersection of Merlin and Galeese Road. The lightning-caused fire has been burning for nearly 2 months now, and it remains 51% contained.
The Joint Incident Command Center, which has overseen the fires in Southwest Oregon, is now closed. The Grants Pass office housed federal, state, local, and agencies, including a call center to help answer questions. That means if you have questions about fires here in Southwest Oregon, you'll need to call the number for each individual fire. You can see a list of those numbers right now on your screen. Those numbers are also available on our website, KOBI5.com.
And we are continuing to track all of the fires burning in our region, starting with the Natchez fire. It's now over 32,000 acres with 78% containment. The Miles fire is over 53,000 acres with 65% containment. The Delta fire in Shasta County is now more than 53,000 acres and just 11% contained. The human-caused fire sparked last Wednesday just a couple miles north of Lakehead, California. More than 2,300 personnel are battling those flames. I-5 is still open, but again, traffic is down to one lane in each direction from south of Dunsmuir to Lakehead.
6:35 new this morning and around the region, the city of Klamath Falls has a new city attorney. Michael Swanson is now taking over that role. Swanson has worked as the Klamath County Deputy District Attorney for 20 years. He begins his work with the city on September 18th. Phil Studenberg, the city council president, says he's excited to bring Swanson into the city. Well, also new this morning, the city of Ashland is introducing a new incentive program to reduce the city's carbon footprint. The program is called Empower EV Incentive. For most drivers, the incentive will pay for low carbon electric fuel for a year. Residents can apply for up to $300 for certain electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles. And local business owners can get up to a $500 incentive to install a charging station outside their business.
6:35 on Capitol Hill, the Trump administration has closed the Palestine Liberation Organization's mission in Washington, D.C. The administration says the mission cannot remain open if the PLO doesn't engage in direct peace negotiations with Israel. It's the latest move by the administration against the Palestinian Authority government in the West Bank.
And the Trump administration will not keep the office open when the Palestinians refuse to take steps to start direct and meaningful negotiations with Israel.
The administration has canceled most aid to Palestinian medical and educational programs and has recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Also on Capitol Hill, preparing for Hurricane Florence, President Trump says Washington is ready, but a government report is questioning his track record. Tracy Potts has more.
So I've spoken with
President Trump says Washington is ready to help with what's expected to be massive damage and power outages from Hurricane Florence.
We are totally prepared. We're ready. We're as ready as anybody's ever been.
He's declared states of emergency from South Carolina to Washington. With more than 1 million people already evacuated, the Federal Emergency Management Agency is staging critical supplies now, mindful of what happened last year. Hurricane Maria, a new estimate shows nearly 3,000 people died in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico was an incredible, unsung success.
If he thinks that the death of 3,000 people is a success, he really doesn't know what this was all about.
A report from the Government Accountability Office shows FEMA was short-staffed for Maria. They didn't have enough people. That delayed the response. Plus, the report found more than half weren't qualified for their jobs.
There's a lot of lessons that we learned from 2017, and we are at the ready.
Ready for a life-threatening storm barreling toward the eastern shore. And back here on Capitol Hill, recovery turns political with some Republicans expected to insist on budget cuts to compensate for the cost of that cleanup. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
Just taking a look at Florence right now. This is a massive hurricane out there, Category 4 currently, one of the strongest hurricanes in decades, since even the 50s, to strike this part of the country in this particular place. We're looking at just the border between North Carolina and South Carolina. Now, a lot of things are going to happen in the next 48 hours before it actually makes landfall. That could determine exactly how far north, how far south this storm system goes and how long it sticks around. So a few main concerns when it comes to this: a lot of precipitation with it. With any hurricane, you're going to get a lot of rain, but the problem is we've had a lot of rain already on the eastern seaboard, so that's just adding to a lot of the effects, adding to the flooding potential out there. The storm surge, that surge of water that comes with hurricanes, that's likely to make its way up there. And the winds, of course, currently 130 mile per hour winds, intensifying. Just over the last couple of hours, the pressure has actually dropped from 945 millibars to 943. That means the storm itself is intensifying. It's getting stronger as it approaches the coast. Let's head ahead a little bit as we go into about Thursday and Friday. Looking like the current models, a lot of them showing weakening to around a Category 3 just before landfall. And that's still a major hurricane. Even a Category 2, Category 1 can do a lot of damage, and it's one of the main concerns as it makes its way closer and closer to the coast. I'll have more updates on our local forecast coming up, so following up on this. Otherwise, back to you.
Matt, thanks so much. 6:39 is the time right now, and UC5 News Sunrise is just getting started. Coming up, why these birds are camping out at a local school for the night.
And communication could be getting a little bit better. What's in store for new iPhones?
And as we go to break, if you're heading out the door this morning, here's a look at the lowest gas according to GasBuddy.com.